Well, in this video, I'll just, go through some annoying things in video games. And it's basically just my opinion. And many of you will probably just disagree with what I say. Of course, this is sticks. There wasn't really too much in this game that was annoying. There were certain things, but we're not. I just wanted to show that game. One of the things that I find annoying are timed missions, where you have to time. You get these. All of a sudden, throughout the game, there was nothing timed. All of a sudden, you have a limited time to do something. There was never throughout the whole game anything like that. And all of a sudden, it wants to time you, and a lot of times, there's not enough time to do it. And of course, and I get Assassin's Creed is a stealth game, but then you get the forced stealth, which can be very difficult to do because it's unrealistic, very unrealistic. And I know it's a video game, but they seem to always notice you, and you get all these other guards that are really on more heightened alert than normal for you. And of course, Ubisoft, I personally don't have a problem with them. The only problem I seem to notice is not only do they put your online ID when you're trying to load it, for some people that's not a big deal. Okay, you're uploading games and stuff, but when you don't want, but sometimes since the PlayStation doesn't allow, Sony doesn't allow, the PlayStation doesn't allow you to change your online ID, and sometimes you don't want people to see your particular online ID for certain reasons. It's not good that Ubisoft does that. And also, for some reason, when you record the game, not really recording it, because you use your PS4, you can record. I did videos like that before. It records the video, you upload it. However, for some reason, Ubisoft games, this is another thing I cannot stand about games, is always going to have copyright. It's going to say copyrighted. You don't get a copyright strike because you get a chance to remove it. And of course, you got the games that change. Like for example, Dead Space. It starts out, it's a nice, good horror game. Very good game, very good horror game, and then it immediately morphs into an action game. Now, oops. Dead Space 2 is not too bad though. Dead Space 3 wasn't that bad. But I have all the games, I have the DLCs and everything. And that brings to another point. Sometimes they seem to want you to download DLCs that really you don't want or care for. And then you get certain ones that seem to be going on and on and on every year. Call of Duty. And yeah, I got quite a number of them myself, true. Advanced Warfare and all these, Ghosts and all that stuff, Probably won't get it this year. And then you got some, sequels that really don't make a huge amount of sense. Prototype is a very good game, but what I'm talking about in this one, you have this Alex Mercer. If you play this game and you completely upgrade him completely, you notice how powerful this guy is. There is no way that this guy in Part 2 would be able to defeat him. But he's the bad guy in Part 2 that you will have to fight at the end of this game. And yet, he's not even difficult. But in this game, you can put full armor on you. You got all this stuff. There's just no way this guy would have beaten him. His abilities were not as good as Alex Mercer's. And you got the invisible wall, you see whole areas you want to get to, but you just can't. That's blocked off for whatever reason. You just stop. And some games like Mercenaries 2, I don't know if you ever played that. I played that. You go past the point, and all of a sudden, it's just basically your character dies. They have that invisible wall. What is the point of it? And of course, this is Borderlands. And then, of course, this brings me to another one that I find a bit irritating. Sorry about that. Like, remember earlier I mentioned how some games, like, continuously every single year they're coming out with one. Yeah, I know what some of you are saying. Well, then stop buying them, which is what I plan to do. But anyways, you got on the other side some that just take forever. You know, they just take 5 years, 6 years. I get it, you know, they want to make the game good and everything. And it's just, you know, as someone who likes Grand Theft Auto and Borderlands and actually likes Elder Scrolls, you know, sometimes that wait can be a bit tedious, to say the least. But having to wait for games, let's face it, that's annoying. The time missions, and then the follow missions, then the forced stealth. You know, you got to do. You know, see, like for example, this is a stealth game. Now, this is a very good stealth game. Sticks. If you haven't played it, I suggest that you do. It's a good game, and it's not even that expensive. But anyway, you got some games they do forced stealth. You know, Assassin's Creed has some missions that do that. Some others do. Ghost Recon. You know, you can't be spotted at all, but they make it so difficult. It's impossible to get spotted. Then you got to follow people, which is another annoying thing because the problem is realistic. Because even if you can still, and this is the problem I had with Assassin's Creed more than any other game, is the following missions. You know, they did it a little bit in Ghost Recon too, but Ghost Recon isn't as bad as Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed is the worst with the follow mission because even if you can still see the person you're following, you can still fail the mission because it says you're too far from them. But I can see this bastard. These follow missions are annoying. Time missions are annoying. When a game goes from being hard to action, annoying. Now, let's see if I can find some other things. 1 second. Then, of course, I want to say you got some that are kind of annoying, but in a good way, like The Witcher 3. A very good game. Here's the problem, though. You know, you have certain things you have to get done, like you got to go to work, you got to eat, and stuff like that. But some of these games are just so enjoyable that you just don't care for. You just like, don't need to go to work. I'd sleep. Well, of course you have to go to work. It's like, you know, it's 1 in the morning. What's another 30 minutes? But let's face it. I know what you're saying. You're complaining about that. This video's not. Don't take this video seriously. Don't be one of those guys or women or whatever. Now, of course, here's Alien Isolation, another good game, but it's the cliffhanger ending. You know, it can be a bit annoying. Not because I don't like cliffhangers in a sense, but sometimes games will have cliffhangers, just like some TV shows and movies, and yet they never make a sequel. And how much you want to bet that the sequel to this is going to be more action than horror? I'm willing to bet it will be. Hopefully they'll show the Queen. I think what's going to happen is that she had, it's my opinion for Alien Isolation. This is what I think is going to happen. She has the alien inside her. They bring her on board that new ship because, you know, you saw the things and obviously the flashing lights. And obviously she survives because, you know, how could she die of an old age in the first Aliens? But anyway, first Alien movie. I mean, well, in Aliens they mention her, right? This is what I think happens. She has the alien inside her. That ship comes, rescues her, does the full body, you know, scan, MRI, or whatever they're going to do, X-ray. They see the alien, they remove it. Of course, she's in recovery. I think it'd be like Dead Space 2. You remember how that was? You know, they still have the marker, I'm sorry, and then they have those things, and you know, they get loose, and in Isaac they have to wake them up. Well, I think she's going to be, you know, coming to in a hospital bed where everything's basically screwed up, and she has to figure out what happened. And there's still going to be some people survive, you know, and she's going to have to do this and that, do various things. Now they can make it a horror game where, you know, now she's on this new ship, she has to give weapons, and, you know, they can add new weapons and stuff like that. And, of course, for the final part of the game, which would be great, if you have the Queen. Now, that would be great. Now, obviously, you'd have to use ingenuity to defeat that Queen, or you have to find a way to get off that freaking ship so you get away from that queen. Because let's face it, a shotgun, a flamethrower, none of that stuff is going to work against that queen. You've seen that queen if you watch any of these alien movies. But I think that's more likely what's going to happen. She has the alien in her. They're going to take it out. You know, like in the Aliens 4. Remember, they had those people, they put the things in the aliens in their chest and then get passed on customs so they can remove it later and all that. Well, bye.